Now, they've enabled a paraplegic man to kick the first ball of the World Cup and for a paralysed woman to take part in the London Marathon. We are talking about exoskeletons, something that a decade ago we could barely imagine.
It sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? They're basically robotic suits that strap onto the legs and torso and are now being trialled by the NHS. And our disability news correspondent Nikki will be here to talk to us in a moment. She hasn't walked independently in almost 10 years, but she's been to see how the suits are being used, and she's tried one herself.
Steve's getting ready to go for a walk. After a rare condition left him paralysed 5 years ago, he's been receiving specialist physiotherapy at this private hospital in Buckinghamshire. And thanks to this piece of technology, he's already taken a number of steps.
If you look at it from an outsider's point of view, you think the machine's doing everything for you. For me, it doesn't feel like that at all. I feel like I've just run a marathon. How I'm getting that feedback up to there, I don't know, but that's how my legs feel. For me, it's all good. It's all good news.
A number of NHS hospitals are trialling the different types of exoskeletons available, but they're not cheap. They can cost up to £120,000, and there is some caution as to their benefits.
They're very far from mainstream at the moment. They're not at all user-friendly. If you have a disabling condition, it's actually really, really hard work to walk, and often people find that that's more trouble than it's worth, and so they use a wheelchair because in the chair they can keep up with other people, they can manage crowds, they can go further, they can be faster.
For many disabled people, the ability to walk is not the most important thing. But for disabilities like mine, exercise is crucial, and for that reason, I decided to give it a go in front of a few friends and family. I've got muscular dystrophy, which means my muscles are a lot weaker than everybody else's. I haven't walked independently since 2005, but today I have got the chance to walk in an exoskeleton for the very first time.
Big lean forward. Big steps up. Big breath in. Shall we try a few steps?
Shall we try a few steps?
So this is basically, you're going to hold it forwards and just keep holding it forwards, and then you'll feel that your left leg will swing through. Lovely. All right.
Right.
That's it. Keep holding it forwards. Good. You'll see that left leg now will swing through. That's great. That's it.
Oh, wait, that was amazing. It didn't feel anything like how I used to walk either. It felt like how, you guys walk.
There is an actual dance move.
Oh, give her
Well, it's not really.
It was amazing to see her stand up, and it's like watching one of my children take their first steps, seeing her, and we've been through so much together. It's really important for me to be here and be with her, definitely. I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Can we do that again one more time?
Yeah, she loved it.
Yeah.
And it puts her in a perfect standing position, which she hasn't really been in for many, many years.
We'll have to buy one.
Well,
People I've actually been using with, I've noticed a big improvement in their spasms. A lot of people report better sleep and pain reduction as well.
Exoskeletons aren't for everyone, but as the technology develops, the hope is that those who need it will have greater access to this specialist rehabilitation. Nikki Fox, BBC News.
Nikki's with us now. So many questions to ask you, Nikki.
Yeah.
You're smiling away. That was quite an experience, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It changed the way you walked, as we saw there. But that evening actually changed the way you walked. It changed the way you walked later on during the day as well, didn't it?
It did. Just for being stood up and stretched for about 25 minutes, it actually felt like a whole hour I was in there, but it was only 25 minutes. That evening, I walked better than I've walked with somebody else, because I can't walk unaided, better than I've walked in about 5 years. It was unbelievable, and that's just the benefit of being stood upright and stretching myself. And that's specific to my disability. I've got muscular dystrophy, my muscles are weaker, and I have to constantly maintain and do as many exercises as I can and stretch throughout the day. But of course, without the exoskeleton, I'm doing it with somebody else. In that, you're kind of doing it on your own, you're freestyling it.
So you say that has given you a way of working out and exercising that you couldn't have done in any other way.
No, I couldn't have done it in any other way unless I was with somebody else. Because if you can't weight bear, the professor was saying it in our piece, if you can't weight bear, you do need somebody else. I can weight bear, but if you find it difficult, you need somebody else to help you exercise. But in that, you're flying solo.
We're seeing pictures here of someone walking outside with it. Is that something you would consider, or people you've spoken to would consider using it for, or is it an exercise, almost a rehabilitation?
For me personally, it was an exercise thing. I wouldn't necessarily go down the pub in it, but if I was minted, I'd possibly have one at home and I'd stand and stretch and do all of that.
Does it cost how much?
Well, that particular model was about £120,000. They start from about £50,000.
I loved your dad's face when
I know.
your mum suggested buying one.
Oh, yeah, Dad, no way. No way. But for a lot of disabled people that I speak to, walking isn't the be-all and end-all. A lot of people, they've only ever known being in a wheelchair, and actually it comes quite low down on their list of priorities, and what's more important is things like access to education and all of that.
Claire Lomas, we're seeing her. She did the marathon, didn't she? 16 days, and she did it with this exoskeleton. I mean, it's the realm of possibility, isn't it? This is what this piece of machinery is offering.
Yeah. I mean, they're far from mainstream at the moment. You could see the one that I was in was quite big and cumbersome. They are far from mainstream, but they are being trialled in a handful of NHS hospitals at the moment. And I suppose the hope is that, as we go forward, that they might get a bit smaller, they might be in more hospitals, we'll get to really have some tangible results of benefits, in the future.
So it's like the potential,
yeah,
really. Yeah.
Yeah, the potential. I think the biggest question from that entire film was, where were my kneecaps? I was sure I had them years ago, but no.
Oh,
clearly not. I'm glad you didn't notice that.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I actually didn't, and I'm going to be looking really closely when we play the
I've
piece
drawn
again.
attention to it now.
We're playing the piece again later.
Yeah, we'll have a look. Everyone will be looking now. Nikki, thanks so much.
Thank you.